Hey, good morning, everyone. Sorry about that. This was pretty bad. Good morning, everyone. As you can see, it is a morning for me here. We're welcome to another video of in between streams. So Guilman is still not quite done, so I'm going to do more work on the Mini itself. Hopefully, I'm going to be able to finish the details of the Mini and then start working on the base. So I will be starting the playlist right now, and we'll be adjusting the cam and we'll be going. I'm hoping that everybody's having an incredible time. And this should be some interesting painting this morning. Here we go. So let's adjust the focus. There's the white balance. Focus. This should be good. Let's do a while like this and see how it goes. So, last time we glued the model all together. It is getting there. Amongst the things that are left that are more important, there is a gemstone right here that we can barely see. We're going to do this today. All the scrolls, and this guy has a lot. All needs to happen. This is also something we're going to do today. There's some details on the sword that I want to do around here, like there's some rings around the handle, if you can see them. I want to do some detailing on this. There's a screen here. I would like to do something that shows Willman heartbeat or something like that. And we've got the skulls. So a lot of work ahead for today. I'm going to get the paint out. We're going to be working with a mix of ivory and light umber for the scrolls. Loading both on the palette right now. Start by working on the scrolls. Mixing some ivory with the light umber color. There's a couple of hairs that are causing issues right now on this brush. I am going to possibly take them out. There's this guy there. Alright, this should be better. My point was splitting because of hair that was crossing the bundle of hair, and now my point is all back to perfect. So basically, brushes are a tool, right? If you're unhappy with what something's going on one of your brush, there is absolutely no problem with cutting air out of it. I think to start by putting a base color there, and then we're going to look into blending this a little bit more. I'm going to come back for the more detailed part of the smaller scroll. So if you haven't guessed up to now, one of the things I like the most about painting is actually listening to music while I paint. So if you ever have music suggestion or stuff like that, feel free to send them my way. If I am able to add songs on my playlists, I will do so. I'm using Monster Cat music service. So if you go see their repository, you'll be able to see basically all the songs that I'm able to play. And if you find some stuff that you like and that you think would be great, just let me know and I'll add that stuff to the playlist. Obviously, if I like it. If I don't, I'm going to say, well, thank you for your suggestion, but not adding this one. And please don't feel offended if I'm not adding your song to the playlist. I'm going to try the smaller detail with that brush. It's holding its point good enough now. That kind of works. Like there's a lot to do there anyway.
I'm far from home, no place to go, but I don't feel cold. I've been so blind, just lost my mind, but all I have lost I find. Your face reminds me of these games, the memories don't erase. I'll never be the same anymore, I'm on the highest top with no control.
Okay, so this is going to be blended back with some glaze after. Okay, so there's that one's done. Basically what's left is the big one there. I'll do some work here with that color on the skulls as well. Going to mostly let the skulls be how they are right now. Adding some detail in them, but not too much. Like, I feel if the guy has skulls on his boots, these skulls are probably not very clean, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time working them. Probably will be coming back for a hint of a highlight on that, but I'm not going any further than that on the skulls. No, there's another one. Okay. Going on for the big scroll. That one is rather important, so I'll have to be careful. It's possible I'm going off cam there, and I'm sorry for that, but I've got to be careful here. Oops. Gosh. Okay, well, I guess it's better that it's happening to me than the guy who's going to have the model. Going to have to re-glue this. Oh, that sucks though. I'll have to pin this. I don't want him to run into issues. I'm going to try to pin it later. As you're seeing, I'm working with a relatively large brush here. You don't always need to use a super small brush to get details. Let me have a look at what the arm is, because it's starting to get on my nerve a little bit. Okay, sorry about that. So what I'm doing there is that I'm basically stippling slowly around the word. This gives the impression that I did a lot of work on there and detailing it, but really I'm just allowing the brush to work alone. I'm not doing much, I'm just not putting much pressure on the brush. That's pretty much the only thing I'm doing. I'm going around like this, and slowly the word starts to become readable. The one important thing is to not put too much pressure on your brush, because if you do, this is not going to work. Light pressure is the key here.
Still
Now I'm going to come and fill some of the small detail in there. Like the U that's right there. Some of that stuff actually need to be painted to sell the effect. But once you're there, it's limited, like it's just a couple of things. We can now read Guilliman on there. Okay, so I'm going to thin the paint that I was using right now to glaze consistency, basically dirty water. And what I'm about to do is like actually important. I'm not going to start on this part because it might not be entirely dry. But what I'm doing is that I'm dipping the tip of my brush in that dirty water. I'm allowing it to get out of the brush on a towel that I have on the side. Then I'm looking at the consistency. And I'm coming back and I'm putting this in the dark area there. When it dries, it's going to be nearly transparent. It's going to be a little while before that dries though. It's super important that you allow it to dry properly, but this will allow the various colors to blend together nicely. It's going to be less of a like the color shift is going to be less strong. Sometimes you need a couple of coats of this. Some on the back. Even if this part is not super important. But if you look here, it's starting to dry. And you see the difference in color is a lot smoother. We're probably going to do 2 or 3 coats. Pretty much all around the place here. Currently I have a little bit too much of that color on my brush. It should be good. It's kind of important to not have too much, because otherwise you can get some staining effect. So it's something that you basically adjust as you go. And you let dry. Resist temptation to go back immediately. Allow it to dry. If it's not properly dried, it will not work properly. You will get some texture building, and this is definitely not what you want. It's nothing to cry about. While this is drying, I'm going to remove some of the paint from this thing, because we will need to glue it back. How does it look in here?
We always have our doubts. Let's trust life. Let's just trust life.
Going to give it another shot later, but I might end up pinning this one. Okay, how is this looking? It's better. We're good for another coat. So again, load the brush. Put on towel to allow the excess to go off the brush. This is just to make the blend smoother, nothing else. If you've got a better way than this to blend, then by all means use it. But for me, this is pretty much it. Okay. Arms. Just allow the transition to be smoother in between the darker and the lighter part. This might be the last coat that we do of this. We're going to have a quick look how it looks like, and then we're going to take some decisions. It's starting to get there. I think this is the last coat. There is one thing that bugs me though. This dot here. Okay. So while this dries, I'm going to load bright ivory in there, and we're going to start highlighting the ultramarine signs that these guys have all over the place. Very careful highlight there. Don't want this to show too much. Just a little bit. It might actually not even be visible on the camera right now. This is actually really subtle, but it brings some richness to the area where we're putting it.
way down low. Push it way down low. Push it way down, push it way down low. Push it way down low. Push it way down, push it way down low. 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 Push it way down low.
Very subtle, but pretty nice.
Push it way down low. Push it way down low. Push it way down, push it way down low. Push it way down low. Push it way down, push it way down low. Push it way down low. Push it way down, push it way down low. Push it way down low. Push it way down, push it way down low.
All right. Don't want to push it more than that. Oh gosh, I forgot one spot for glazing. Not proud of myself there. Hopefully I didn't forget more than that.
Always not far away from us, not far away from us. There's something better for us.
Okay. Let dry. This one is bigger. It's going to require maybe 3 coats instead of 2. Going back to highlighting those ultramarine signs. Now this is very, very subtle because the color is just so close to the base color we have there. But this is perfectly fine because we actually don't want this to be like such a focal point on there. Like this sign is white, but we don't want this to become like visually too strong. So I'm not going to go pure white on this. That was a little bit strong.
Always not far away from us, not far away from us. There's something
Okay. Hey, not too bad. Let's look at the leg. Okay, this is dry. Going in for another pass. Letting this dry. I will need a little bit more of that glaze because I'm out. Oh no, I'm not out. Just going to leave this one to dry a little bit then. It's very, very important that you let glaze dry in between coats. If you don't, you are going to screw up. It's not like, this is patience. You have to be patient. If you're not 100% sure something is dry, do not go back. Leaving this to dry a little bit. As you can see, those two colors that were previously very strong, like the color separation was very, very strong, they're starting to bend together, to tight, like the separation is starting to disappear. This is why glazes are so nice, because you can blend stuff like this without much effort. Yes, it's long, but there's not much effort in this. Really, the big issue is to wait until it's dry. Okay, let's go again. I'm hoping that this will be the last.
Breathe me into the light. Slowly
Yeah, this will be good enough.
darkness in
So it just leaves the hint of a shadow right now.
taste was all I
And that's perfectly fine. So now we're going to move to pure ivory. And that ivory is what we're going to use for the highlights on all the scrolls. I'm probably going to do a single pass of this because I don't want these to be like so bright. I do want these to pop a little bit. So not too much, just a little. Not everything has to be super defined, just a little bit. This should blend in pretty nicely, as the first color we used for highlight had a lot of ivory in it. Look at how clean this is. This is pretty cool. I'm going to wait before I do the one there. Going on the backpack first, and I'll be going on the arm that is not glued right now as well first. Okay. This one I do need to be kind of careful because there's a lot of details that I do want to keep. Okay. Gonna be it for the arm. Now the leg. Cleaning off the brush, making sure it's got nice and clean brush. The one on the leg is looking pretty good. kind of a lesson learned for me. Not, I don't typically do a lot of glaze, but I'm kind of happy with what I did on the leg there. It's pretty good. Okay. Now we need to write stuff on these scrolls. What I'm going to do with that is I'm going to do mahogany. Not going to actually mahogany and burnt red. Yeah. So I'm going to do, on some of them, I'm going to attempt to do a bit of a square with burnt red. And then I'm going to do the writing with mahogany. I'm not doing the writing with black because if you've ever seen a piece of scroll like this, well, it basically is not black. So I'm not going to use black. Usually comes out faded. So no black for me on there. Love that song.
But it must have been a dream, 'cause you're not here.
Okay. I am going back to a smaller brush. This is 10 zeros. What you're seeing on the tip is the goop. So, Gentastic Drunken Brush Goop. It's the first time I'm trying it. So basically that thing aims at keeping the tip. So we'll see how well this worked or not. This is kind of a brush soap that you leave on the brush in between paint session. Yeah, I think that worked pretty well. Yeah, decent. Okay. So, I'm going to start with just the mahogany on these guys. Just giving the hint of lines. Not sure if I'm going to have the space for the red square that I wanted to do. If I do, I'll try it. Otherwise, I'm not going to try it. I don't want to risk the model over that. Okay. The one that's up there, I'm going to try to do something a little bit better. I've got the square.
I can't keep thinking about you 'cause I can't find
Now that I do have the square, I'm good for lining the thing. Maybe it was a little bit small to do what I just did.
Shades of blue colors, neon skies, you feel it. Closer to danger, just a touch won't be enough.
Okay, it's not too bad. It's actually better than the other ones. My lines on the other ones are too big. This one looks a lot more realistic. Lines are a lot smaller. Not sure about the red dot, but whatever. Okay. So now I have to do something that I'm not used to do. Like, I'm really bad at writing. So what I'll do is I'll use a piece of paper and I do a couple of trial before I reach the actual model. So I'm sorry this is not going to be super interesting for you, but it still is something I need to do. Yeah, writing is not an easy thing. Yep. This is going to be a struggle. This is already too big. I'm not writing on something that makes it super easy either. I need to go directly on my cardboard. Get another shot. Need to stylize my T. So I'm currently, let me show this. I'm going to change the focus of the camera so you guys can see. This is essentially me practicing writing right now. Let's change this. I'm going to try to zoom it a little bit. Yeah, okay, let me bring this down now. Okay. So in Ultra, there are 5 letters. If you want to center something, you need to start with the middle letter. So the T in my case. I'm trying to stylize these. It's not a problem if it ends up being super hard to read if it looks good. Like this cannot happen when I do it on the model. The fat line cannot happen. So I'm going to practice a couple more times. and see if I can get better at that. I'm not currently straight, but the writing is getting faster and better. Also, speed is kind of important because otherwise your paint dry in the brush. So let's give it another shot.
Tell me you've got no place to be, and let me take you. Or we could find some smoke to breathe and leave the city.
This is not too bad. Let's try to see if I can get it better. Like, sometimes you get to stuff on a model that you want to do that you've just never done before. You got to practice. Yeah, it was not good. Okay, this is getting better. Going for another shot. It's not perfect, but honestly, for a first real actual attempt at writing, I'm going to say I'm pretty happy with it. Okay. How does it look on the model? I'm going to adjust the cam here. In the tip of the brush. My T is laid down. Going in for the R. R is laid down. Going in for the A. A is laid down. Going to leave it like that. Not perfect. Honestly, for first attempt, I'm good with it. Okay. Where are we? Gemstone. Oh yeah, gemstone and screen now. Okay. So gemstone, loading a little bit of black on the palette. Going to use black, burnt red, and pure red. And whatever light color I have, so probably bright ivory. Don't need much for this. Okay, so we're going on that gemstone here. Going to start by basing it in black, make sure that it is actually fully black. Going to leave that dry for a moment. In the meantime, I am going to load just a little bit of copper so that we can do the sword handle while the colors are drying. I keep losing my colors. It's not like there's that many color in that set and I'm still losing the colors. Just a bit of copper. I'm not even going to do the full detail on there. Just a hint. Same thing at the back. Okay. That's it. Brings a lot of details to the sword and is pretty simple to do. So that black dot is now dry. Going with burnt red. Burnt red is laid down. Need to wait a bit. Going to readjust my focus while I'm waiting. Burnt red should be dry. Going in with pure red. Okay. Going to add a dot of burnt red just above it to make sure that burnt red is visible. Next step on this is dot of white at the bottom. White is drying on my brush. It's not quite pure white. This is bright ivory. I don't have white on my palette. I don't want to open it just for like 2 stupid dots. So, small line like this. And then same thing at the top. Here we go, we have a gem. Let's see if you guys can have a closer look at this. This one is actually pretty good. Let's bring this closer. I think this is a closer. Can I do better than that? Yeah. There we go. So you see the gemstone right there. Pretty decent. Alright. Okay. So it looks like... Oh no, there's some details that I would like to do on here. Not sure how to do these though. Like the 2 lines that are going on the sword. I'm going to have a quick look at how people do these online and see if I can pick up an ID there. Case of doubt, looking online is always a good thing. Okay, so it turns out people are basically not caring about these. Huh. Awkward. Yeah, people are just not painting them. They're just leaving them be as a sword. That's strange. Kinda understand why. I might come in with a very, very small highlight of yellow. Because I'm not sure I want to leave that as is. Then at the same time, what is there to do with that? That's a whole different story. So I'll do a very light highlight of yellow there. Very, very faint.
It's all I wanna do.
Just so that there is some color difference in between. It's very, very slightly visible, but it's there. It's better than nothing. Okay, so screen at the back. So I have a very dark green base color on this. I am going to go with green, and I'll try to put a line on there, very thin line that looks like a lifeline. And then I'm going to try some mix of green and yellow and see if I can come up with something decent.
Do you believe that dreams, they can come true? Will you accept the apology that is long overdue? Well, I question what forever is, and I know you do too.
Paint is drying.
The answer's right in front of me.
Thin it down a little bit.
It's all I wanna do.
Going to lose a bit of control over that, but less control is better than no paint.
You not to break out students to
Basically, I'll do a line and I'll try to cheat into making it be a lifeline. Allow this to dry a bit, and then I'm going to come back. Should be dry enough. Yeah, now we're cheating this thing into being a lifeline. Because if you've ever seen this on a monitor, the space is actually not super big. So I think it's going to be easier to make this appear as than to actually do the real line thing. Letting this dry a bit.
It's all I wanna do. Believe. It's all I wanna do.
The effect is starting to build up. Going to put some highlights with that green in the corners of the screen. Not too much, just a little. Just want to sell the effect that this is a screen. Okay. So now, I'm going to mix some yellow with that same green. We're going to do some highlights on that line using that mix. On the camera, I don't know how it looks. It's bigger than what it is on the model. But on the model, I'd say it looks pretty alright. Like, it's perfect for a model that's going on a table. To add some hints of highlights around the screen. That's going to be it, at least for that screen. Yeah, it sells the effect. Okay. I think I'm going to call the main body of that Gwilman done. And I'm not displeased with it being done. Oh, there's the gun. Gosh. Yeah, gun I'm going to be a little bit less careful. This is going to be dry brush. Just a dry brush. It's perfectly fine. It's good enough. Now I am going to clean my dry brush right away because these brushes tend to basically not have very long life. And I find a lot of people are going through so many dry brushes, and a big chunk of this is because they're not dry. They're not actually cleaning their dry brushes. So clean your dry brushes. They deserve as much respect as your small detail brush. A lot of gunk coming out of that when you're cleaning them. This one did not get love in the earliest part of her life, so okay. How are we dealing with that arm now? Whoops. This definitely needs to go on like this. No question asked there. I'm going to try to glue it again with a little bit more glue. So super glue. Don't forget, you have to be super careful with that once your stuff is painted. There's more glue here now than what I did yesterday. Trying to avoid putting too much glue on my painted model. I have to work quickly here. Just holding it in place for a couple of seconds. And hopefully this will hold properly for the guy who's going to be playing with it. If this does not work, I'll pin it. Okay. Letting it be. I'm calling this Guilliman done. However, now there's almost as much work to be done on the base. Going to do the base in a different paint session. I do need a bit of a break here, and that base is pretty involving. I might actually do a full stream on the base. Alright, so let me switch back to the other view. I hope that you enjoyed your time painting with me today. We've done some cool scrolls. Essentially, we've done some glazing on this. Don't forget to allow your glaze to dry. We've done some writing, which was not easy. It's not perfect, however, it do look decent enough. We've done some gemstone. Basically, don't forget to do the white dot when you're doing the gemstone. This is what sells the effect. Like, no matter how good or bad your color buildup on the gemstone is, from black to your brightest whatever color the gemstone is, what sells the effect at the end is the white dot, both in the brighter part and in the darker part. If you wanted to see this, next time you do take a shower, have a look at how the droplets of water reflects light when you have a drop of water on a wall, and you'll realize that there are multiple points of very bright reflection in a drop of water. So thank you for joining me, and well, see you next time. Bye.